So what do we mean by being creative? How then do we move from this positional bargaining position, which is not helpful? I mean, it's only useful if you have all of the power and you're only interested in one-off transactions with counterparties. If you happen to have all the leverage, if you're some incredibly powerful organization and you just don't care about how the person on the other side of the negotiation table feels, because you have the power, you have all the cards, and you're quite happy to abuse that power, then fine, play the hard positional bargaining if that's what you want. But I think most of us here, I think would agree with me that we're looking to create supercharged, healthy relationships with our counterparties so that they're going to want to come back and work with us again. So if we really want that, then what we need to think about, and this is the crucial aspect, most crucial aspect here of using creativity in negotiations, is inventing options for mutual gain. Great negotiators are constantly on the lookout to see what is it that's important to the other side that I can use as leverage to widen the deal. In selling and sales, we call it add-ons. How do you add value in a deal? Well, it's all those incremental add-on things. It's the customer care, it's the additional training, or whatever it might be. So here it's thinking about what is important to the other side and how can I use that. But it's a difficult skill to develop because there are a number of obstacles standing in our way. So what are those obstacles? Well, first is premature judgment. We need to think first and not to jump to conclusions because it will impede our ability to invent options for mutual gain. So what do I mean by that? Well, most of us, and interestingly, I talk about this in a number of my courses, not just in negotiation training, but we have a sort of a gremlin that sits on our shoulder that says things like, Anthony, that's a silly idea. Why on earth would you want to do that? We're constantly second guessing ourselves. This voice will undermine us and it'll say, Anthony, it's a silly idea. That's ridiculous. Don't do that, whatever. We just have to be very careful of that internal critic that may prevent us from being as creative as we might be in the negotiation. So that's really the first thing, to silence the inner critic and to really think around, to allow ourselves a little bit more space, I would say, without criticizing and shutting down things. The next thing that we need to bear in mind is that we need to rid ourselves of the assumption of a fixed pie. So let me just explain what that is. So a fixed pie is the notion that, let's say, I'm literally going to use the analogy of a pie because it is the easiest way of describing it. So, because I like pies, actually, I'm going to think of it as a cherry pie. So hopefully you like cherry pies as well. So anyway, let's say I've just baked a huge, delicious cherry pie. It's a wonderful thing. Just come out of the oven. It's all steaming. I then hand it over to, let's say for want of argument, I hand over the pie to Sonia. And I say, Sonia, please feel free to take half of my pie. So we cut the pie in two. Sonia walks away with her part of the pie and hopefully enjoys it. I have my part of the pie. But the thing is, you see, I've lost half of my pie now, haven't I? And I can't get that half a pie back. So that's the assumption of a fixed pie. It's the idea that when we give things away, we've lost them and we can never get them back. We've lost, 50% of what it is we had is gone. It's evaporated now. So what is then the solution to that? And this is where creativity comes in. And I'm sure that you know what the answer is: bake a larger pie. We bake a much larger pie so that there's more to go around for everyone. So that when I've given half the pie away to Sonia, it doesn't really matter because the pie is so darn huge. There's more pie for everyone. And that is the mindset that we need in negotiating. And the only way that we can do that is by inventing options for mutual gain. So we have to get out of that tug and war mentality and constantly be looking to bake a larger pie. Now, the other thing is, do you remember when I said earlier that one of the crucial things is that we need to remember that great, truly effective, all the best negotiators take care of their counterparties' needs and aspirations as much as their own. So one of the obstacles that we have in terms of creating options for mutual gain is thinking that the counterparty's problem is their problem. And I've been on so many negotiation teams in the past where, my own team's been saying, oh, well, that's their problem. I mean, it's that's their issue and this sort of thing. But actually it isn't. It's our concern. Because if we can then help them to find solutions to their problems, that is what's going to help us to find a better way of creating those win-win agreements.